Hey everyone, I just wanted to make a really quick video discussing how Henry Silva just passed away. I believe by the time this posts, it'll be a couple days back, and uh, it got pretty much no attention. The mention of Henry Silva's passing was buried down at the bottom of the entertainment wing of my Google News app, and no one even knew. You know what I mean? The Queen dies, it's a big deal. Henry Silva dies, nobody gives a fuck. And you wonder why the world is as fucked up as it is, right? But yeah, I mean, Henry Silva, I know he never really became like a megastar, but he was always really important to me because, mainly because he was the bad guy in Above the Law, and I loved Above the Law. Well, I loved a few of Seagal's movies, even though Steven Seagal turned out to be a fucking creep. I did love a few of his earlier movies, especially from the Above the Law years. Like Above the Law was amazing, but I felt that that movie really stood out because of Henry Silva's performance. He's such a good and sort of like overwhelmingly good bad guy. He's so he always plays it kind of quiet and cool, but he's so sinister and he's so his evil that these characters that he plays it always he always manages to pull it off, and I always believe that he's like the ultimate bad guy, and he was really good in Above the Law. But I loved Hard to Kill, Above the Law, fucking Out for Justice, and Marked for Death. Those are like my favorite Seagal movies. And my favorite one overall is Above the Law. I find it's got the most sort of like espionage-ish aspect to it. I mean, as close as a Seagal movie can. And Henry Silva was who I always think of when I think of Above the Law. I think of him right away. And I also think of Ghost Dog, Way of the Samurai, with fucking... What the hell was that? Well, anyways, with Forrest Whitaker, where he plays the samurai. And I liked how the RZA was in the end of that too. But Henry Silva, I always think about Henry Silva and how he was in Ghost Dog. And I also think of Henry Silva in Amazon Women on the Moon. He did the segment Bullshit or Not. I thought that was great because they were trying to suggest the possibility that the Loch Ness Monster was actually Jack the Ripper. Amazon Women on the Moon was a weird movie. When I was a kid, I grew up with the version. I didn't know there were two versions, but I grew up with the version where there wasn't as much nudity. When the what was she, the playmate or whatever, and she's walking around town and she's completely naked, like when she goes to church. The one I saw, she wasn't naked. She was wearing like underwear. She had some type of lingerie on, so she was not nude. And it wasn't until years later that I saw the movie again, and the chick shows up and she's like, "Oh, I just like to walk around. I love looking at the places that I went," and she was naked. It completely threw me because I grew up watching the one that I taped off First Choice Viewers channel, and that one was censored as far as the nudity was concerned, as it turns out. And that's another movie I always think of with Henry Silva. Of course, I also think mostly too. I think his most important work would arguably be The Manchurian Candidate with Frank Sinatra. But then at the same time, he was also in Ocean's 11 with Frank Sinatra and the rest of the Rat Pack. So I don't know. It was funny because one of his first significant hits was Ocean's 11, and then the last movie he made an appearance in, and he was just a spectator in this, was the remake of Ocean's 11 with perfect-looking Brad Pitt, and he played a spectator during the boxing match at the end when the robbery of Andy Garcia's casino was taking place. So I thought it was kind of cool. In a sense, technically, Ocean's 11 was not Henry Silva's first movie, but Ocean's 11 was his last movie, and you could argue that Ocean's 11 was his first like significant film. So in that sense, having them in both sort of bookended his career. And that was it for him. He never starred in anything again, and that was back in 2000 or 2001. I just thought it was really sad that nobody was talking about it, considering that he'd been in like 170 or 180 movies, and nobody could be bothered, This world sucks. But yeah, I'm gonna go. So, yeah. Have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.